Hello, everybody. This is diANtinatalist.
Diane, down deep inside I cry. Diane, without your love I die. Diane, you know you drive me wild. Diane.
Well, if it's not one thing, it's another.
You're such a little evil child, yeah, 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 yeah.
Unbelievable. This guy just comes up out of nowhere. And he goes, your dog is not a prop. Fuck.
Yeah, I wanna pack and leave and slap your face. Bad girls like you are a disgrace. But way down deep inside I cry. Without you, little Diane, I die. I should drag you down, cause you're no good. You're two-faced, your heart's made of wood. But way down deep inside I cry. Without you, little Diane, I die. Listen to my heart. Oh, you're tearing it apart. Oh, why don't you understand? Why don't you stop it?
You know, a lot of times, families, breeders, don't know their place.
Stop it!
Boy, if this is not a disgusting sign, in my whole life I've never seen this.
Stop it if you can, I wanna spread the news that you're untrue. But Diane, what good would it do? Cause way down deep inside I cry. Without you, little Diane, I die. Yeah, don't you understand, Diane? I said, yeah, 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 I said, listen to the beat. Oh, I feel it in my feet. Oh, now it's my heart, Diane.
If you seek, violent porn against women, or if you participate in child porn, yes, that's an altogether different thing than eating an extra slice of pie or dipping into the cookie jar. But the devil did not make you do anything. Your parents did.
Out you little Diane, I die.
So this is it's not my day.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to NIGHTCAP for June 16th, 2023. I'm your host, Shaun, and tonight I'm joined by Dan, the ultra-natalist.
Oh, man.
Brought in by the sweet sounds of Dion and our girl, Diane. So if you guys haven't figured it out, what we're going to be talking about tonight, we're going to be talking about our sweet, sweet Diane, diANtinatalist, the one and only, the Pennsylvania original, the OG. Although, wait, no, I'm sorry. I got to take that back. She's from Texas. She's a Texas girl. I forgot. Yeah, she's from Texas. When she gets honorary, she's like, you don't mess with, that's not how she sounds, but you don't mess with people from Texas. I'm a Texas girl. I was like, when you leave
Corpus
there for...
Christi?
Yeah, Corpus Christi, Texas, just where Laura's from.
Right, exactly.
In fact, I think she might have been Laura's parents' neighbors or something, you know?
Oh, yeah, they all grew up in the antinatalist commune. Can you imagine what a fucking cupcake Diane must have been about 25 years ago, 30 years ago?
You know she was. And she was wild.
Oh, yeah.
She's a wild child, dude. She's child-free Diane. Imagine, like, it probably started as, like, a fucking joke, like a party joke. Like, dude, that chick will totally fucking let you dump it in her, dude. She's fixed.
Yeah.
That's child-free Diane over there, you know what I'm saying? And then the guys would high-five.
Man, it's brutal. Like, I'm starting to piece together little pieces of her life as we get to know her more. And it gets darker every single time.
It really does. Like, you learn... It's a weird thing because she's obviously sharing, part of her life with everybody for public consumption. And just like everybody else on the internet, everybody's kind of always secretly trying to reveal themselves or telling themselves in some way. And there's so much like earnest, desperate subtext to everything Diane does. Even when she's being like kind of, indignant and nasty and cruel. It comes from a place of like a deep place of resentment and anger and sadness about her own life. Because it seems like Diane may have had a little bit of a touched life, we'll say. And her perception of things that have happened to her in her life have really created something of a monster.
I mean, it's a monster, a ghoul.
I felt chills up my spine as a dreaded ogre has come up from behind.
Oh, that's Alex from Canada. That's what that clip is talking about. Her boy Alex, her boy toy. Which, we're going to find out there may be some kind of infidelity going on. Some new shit has come to light, guys. Some new shit has come to light. So if you guys remember the last time we watched the Diane video, we watched her doing her public activism, screaming at school buses with some street lizard and her pimp, her white soy boy, Shrek-like pimp. And then at the end of it, she got a letter of reprimand, a warning from a lawyer's office, which she said her full name. And and like Sherlock Holmes sweeping in to take the case, Mr. Prophet looked up her name, and a bunch of stuff came up.
Yeah, a lot of stuff came up. And every time we do a Diane episode, or you do one, or I do one, it's like, oh, okay, we've come to the end of the Diane well, and then you get to it's like Diane's got like a dozen wells on her property, and all of them are completely full. I mean, it's nuts.
Apparently, it's full of dead dogs.
Yeah, so we have been investigating just the nook of her existence that's her YouTube videos and her like anti-natalist community that worships her. This woman is a menace in real life.
Yeah,
she's
her own
all
community.
over Pittsburgh. Yeah, she's all over Pittsburgh, or whatever part of Pittsburgh she lives in, just causing trouble for everybody. I mean, it seems like this is a very normal thing and has been for a long time for her.
I think that would be probably the reason why she got that letter of reprimand so quickly. She's like a known quantity, like know exactly who she is, and they sent her the letter. Like, did somebody come out? Like, how the fuck would they know it was her if she wasn't kind of known?
It's like when people would call the authorities on Chris Chan.
Yeah,
they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, well." They'll probably end up sorting it out. They'll be fine. And nobody would ever go and respond to those calls because it was like the boy who cried wolf, but with autism.
All right, let's catch up with chat a little bit. We got Hagbard in the house. He's given us the shifty Sam Hind eyes. Trembling says, Diane now has some kind of Indian STD that makes her produce a curry-like substance that smells like death. Trembling says, oh, Genghis Gash. Genghis Gash. Hagbard says the T is for turmeric. Hagbard also says they have pre-addressed envelopes at the DA's office. Yeah, I think so. They got something. I feel, we're going to get into it, but I feel bad for some of the people in Diane's life. One guy in particular. We got the Burner 79 over on in the Rumble chat. He says, yo. I say, yo back. I say, yo back. Yo back, motherfucker. All right. So, what do you think we should start with, Dan? You want to start with this angry screed that somebody wrote? Should we start with the video? Oh, I know where we're starting. We're starting with that video.
The 30-second one.
Yeah. So it's good to remind ourselves. Yes, it is. I have it. It's good to remind ourselves like a little bit like what Diane is actually like. Like, when you think about what she does in her beliefs, you could kind of brush it off. You could be like, whatever. Just it's another kook out there. Another kook, kind of harmless, but the way she spends her free time, every once in a while, you'll like find a video that reminds you, like, oh shit, she like films people in public, and then like walks around the corner and says the worst possible things you can about a person, like all the time. It actually reminds me of like when I first got into Diane, and the thing that like kind of like would enrage me, blow my mind a little bit, was the stuff that she would do in like supermarkets and shit. Where she would be like talking about people that are like 10 feet away from her. Just like whispering. And you're like, what are you doing, Diane? She couldn't even wait to get out of it. She was so excited to tell her thoughts, to give her thoughts to YouTube. She needed to upload that in the car, not be filming it. She was like, I got to get these out right away while it's hot.
She gets amped too while she's speaking. You can hear the little
that's why she's blinking and shit.
Yeah. But you'll just listen for little Joker giggles in between when she gets really excited about something. She sounds like Heath Ledger, like yeah. This woman is truly out of her mind, man.
We love to hate Diane. I mean, it's hard to deny, honestly. I wouldn't deny that. I wouldn't say like, oh no, I have no interest in what Diane's doing or whatever. It's like, of course I do. I will forever. She's a fascinating creature, like she is.
What kind of a person sees a regular family completely? I mean, these are like invisible people. These are totally normal, regular. You'd walk right by them and not even see them. People, and she sees it and starts to seethe so deeply that she pulls out her phone and starts secretly filming them. And then she says like a little conniving little thing at the end.
Trembling says that Batman video was some funny shit. Well, I appreciate it. That episode actually has there's 6 2-minute segments in that video that could definitely be carved out as clips that are on their own very funny. Trembling says Diane needs a nemesis that's a young mother of 4. She really does. You know what she needs to do? What she needs Laura to turn on her. She needs Laura to turn on her and then get married and pregnant and then spend her life on her, turn her online presence into being a pro-natalist thing, and say the thing that drove her to the other side was Zubox and diANtinatalist. Her antics were so disgusting. She could no longer bear it.
That'd be such a good plot twist.
It would be. All right, let's see what see the creep in the park. Oh, are these special needs kids? And she's gonna be like, oh, look at these people. They brought these kids in the world with their malformed skulls, having to keep them together with duct tape and saran wrap.
To prevent all harm, one must not reproduce.
Just a little amuse-bouche, just a little accoutrement, just a little something, just a little taste, appetizer.
Actually, should we remind everybody who Diane really is, though? There is one video, and we don't have to watch the whole thing, obviously. Let me see here. It's the pizza video.
Bring it up. Let's fire it up, man. I'm ready to go. I mean, this is we have to crack this. We have to get to the bottom of this again. You know.
We do, because we did this. We've done a giant mogging of Diane once before, and it was an epic stream. It went on for 5 hours. And actually, my internet just died at some point. It just stopped. It just stopped working.
Actually, I bet if you combed back through every episode of Zoobox, you might find a baker's dozen of episodes. If you include episodes that just have one segment on diANtinatalist, there might be 12, 13 episodes where we kick that can down the road.
Oh, where we talk about Diane? Yes, there's probably about 20 hours of Diane content, maybe 30 hours between the two of us of Diane content across these episodes of Nightcap and the Late Late Show. I mean, dude, she's endlessly fascinating. I love to hate her. I can't help it. You know, she could call me out. She'd be like, "You're obsessed with me." I'd probably be like, "Yeah, I am a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit obsessed with you."
You are a fascinating creature. In the same way that people would, pay money to see conjoined twins and bearded ladies and a man with scales at a freak show, I feel the same way about Diane. I can't not look.
You cannot not look away. You have to stare right into the abyss. You really have to with her.
It's not obsession with a person so much as it is fulfilling the human instinct of looking at the car accident while you drive by.
100%.
She has a new car accident every day that she posts on YouTube.
She's like a cartoon character. I have that kind of interest in her where I'm like, well, I wonder where this story goes. Number one, that's kind of part of it. I'm waiting for this all to just collapse in on her at some point.
Yeah, and like a cartoon, no matter what hijinks she gets into, at the end of the day, the episode ends and she wakes up the next day and it all starts out exactly the same.
She's not learning any lessons at the end of each episode of diANtinatalist. Trembling says, quote unquote, if you kept your legs closed, we wouldn't have to look at your retard babies, she yells with zero tact. She does shit like that. When she gets around other people, she needs the confidence builders. She needs her man Alex. She needs like young, like I said, street lizards to hold signs with her to shout at. She'll shout that shit at school buses. But if somebody comes up and approaches her, suddenly she's very like submissive and demure. Like she's suddenly like she's very cool. Scary Gary is like that too, and Mendham's like that too. Like he'll be talking mad shit, and then somebody will be like walk up to him, be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing. I'm doing pretty good. How are you?" Like Jesus Christ. Like there's a video of Gary. I think you guys were watching it with me, where a dog gets loose in his like where he lives in the woods. And he's freaking the fuck out. And he's like, these fucking people, they don't know how to fucking take care of their animals. And then the people that own the dog came up like, hey, I'm sorry about that. My dog got loose. And he's like, oh, no, nothing, no problem. No, hey, no harm, no foul. And he keeps walking. Like, I was like, man, I would have cut that out or something, Gary. Like, Hagrid says, one day Diane is going to film someone like my wife, and she's going to get the holy hell stomped out of her. Oh, dude, it's only a matter of time. She speaks in earshot of people. Like, it's only a matter of time before somebody rolls Diane. And like I said, she's a known quantity. She's a known quantity where she lives. People know who she is and what she's all about. I mean, people hate her. They call her a radical feminist, baby-hating dog collector or something. All right, let's get into this, because this is one of the last videos we watched when we watched the... last time we did a full episode on Diane. This was kind of a revelatory video. It really changed. I went from being bored with Diane to totally like locked back in, because this has nothing to do really with antinatalism. This is just her narcissism and her desire to be catered to, regardless of what's going on in the world. This is a pizza place closed. She was very fond of because they couldn't hire people during COVID, and she's very upset about it.
And before you start, she's not upset about a local institution closing its doors that's been there since she was a kid. She's not upset about people losing their jobs, about small business owners losing their livelihood and all those years of hard work that they put into this. She's pissed off because the pizza place she likes closed down.
Yeah, it's closed. This is the same thing. There's another video, another infamous Diane video. One of our favorites is the buffet video. I mean, we privately reference that shit all the time.
All the time.
All the time. The buffet video. Like, because it is so hilarious, her perspective on anything. And one of the reasons why she's an antinatalist is because kids don't have good work ethic and nobody will work at the buffet, even though the buffet is open and kids could work there, but they just don't want to. And she was furious. She was just driving down the street just talking about how furious she was that the buffet was no longer open.
Well, if it's not one thing, it's another. I just drove over to an area that I haven't been to in about a month or so, and there's nobody there at the pizza place, and it's the best pizza in town. Actually, it was really
this is like a child or like an elderly person with like dementia. Like this is the kind of speech pattern with the things they get upset about. Like the noodles were not penne. I only eat penne noodles, and all they had were rigatoni. Don't you get it?
Actually, you know what? The other day I went to make my son it's like spaghetti for lunch because it was like quick and easy, and I knew he was going to eat it. Yeah. And we had like penne pasta instead of spaghetti, and he likes spaghetti because he calls it hot snakes.
Yeah, he calls it.
Pretends like it's snakes. And we had the penne, and he wasn't just like, oh, that sucks. He wasn't, he lost his fucking shit. Like if I had told him, Theo, I'm leaving your mother right now, and started walking out the door, he would have thrown less of a fit than him not getting fucking hot snakes.
Oh, I've been there.
She is exactly in that spot. And I was thinking the same exact thing that you just said. She talks either like a toddler or like an old person with dementia, but she doesn't have dementia. She's just a fucking seething narcissist rage bag.
Yeah. She like look at her, look at this her face. I mean, this is tough. It's I hate to see people letting go. I guess that's what's happening to Diane. She's just devolving, decaying, as I told her today on YouTube.
Remarkable, and it was kind of weird. And it could have been a power outage. It could have been. So, on Facebook, it said in August they were temporarily closed, because of labor shortages, staff, people weren't going back to work, and they need staff, and they were worried about another shutdown, I guess, after Delta variant. So
I need to point out, and through our research, I don't know if it'll come up in anything we're going to read tonight, but apparently Diane was like a mask Karen, where she would chide people, especially people with kids, for their masks not being fitted correctly, and how that was endangering everyone, especially people like her, like older, sickly people. She would do that kind of stuff in public. Apparently she was known for it.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. That's her. She was probably so excited about coronavirus for so many different reasons. You know what I mean? Not the least of which is the like personal empowerment that it made every one of these fucking biddies feel to walk around policing people about their mask usage.
Which and it also is just, and it's also just another form of validation about why like people shouldn't exist. And I mean, they were living high on the hog for a couple of years. That's why they became so emboldened. That's why things are so quiet now. I feel like there was a time where the antinatalists were really out there. Not so much right now. Maybe
actually, I did some research on the Google Analytics, and antinatalism has two huge spikes. One of them is in 2012, which is when I think like everything went wrong, like the dimensions changed or something, or the magnetic poles shifted or something.
Obama's second term wasn't supposed to happen.
A lot of things go weird in 2012 with like Google searches and stuff. But antinatalism gets a huge bump in 2012 and then again in 2020 during coronavirus.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Well, because I mean, what 2012 is like, a few years into that recession from 2008. It's really when you start seeing the mainstreaming of postmodern kind of deconstructions of everything, and that kind of permeating the public consciousness, where kids are starting to recontextualize the word racism and redefine it. And things like that. It's out in the public, whereas before it had just been in kind of academia. Then it was out in the public, and it was on like MTV info things on YouTube that were teaching people all this new lingo and ways to look at themselves.
This was also when Tumblr was at its height.
Yes. Well, it was actually, it was like in the middle of it, right in the middle. But yeah, so during that peak.
Yeah, I guess I should say in 2012, that's when Tumblr started to sort of take off and
became important to a generation of people.
Yeah, and people started to like. I noticed it personally go from like people sharing like pictures of fandoms and stuff that they liked to fucking seething political discourse over the course of like 6 months. Tumblr became this disgusting hotbed of. I mean, that's where the modern. Mimetic political battlefield started on Tumblr in like 2012.
Yeah, then it went to Reddit for a little while and 4chan, obviously, stuff like that. But I mean, in terms of mainstream stuff, Reddit, that's kind of was what it graduated to, because those people got older and they wanted a more sophisticated way to do these things and have these conversations in longer forms, and like. But that's where that furry shit, that's really takes off in earnest around the same time. A lot of grooming of autistic young kids into weird sexual deviant kinks and shit like that. So by the time they're like 17, 18, they're like deep into like gay bondage culture. Yeah. And we've watched so many videos about it. It's just like, it was definitely a thing. It was real.
I should go back through and take a look at like several hundred different Google Analytics of like terms being searched around that time and see what I can come up with for 2012. But anyway, antinatalism got a huge bump during coronavirus because everybody was locked inside, talking to each other, and scared out of their fucking minds.
Yeah, especially neurotic, mentally ill people. I mean, like, I think, Mushroom Coyote would be like a great example of somebody that kind of like gets ensnared by this kind of ideology or perspective, just like autistic kids on Tumblr when they were kind of groomed into furry BDSM shit. Kind of in the same way, like Mushroom Coyote, listen, I don't know this person from Adam or Eve, but like, to me, that seems like it's somebody that Diane is going to inspire, a mass shooter.
Oh yeah, and
future mass shooter, Mushroom Coyote.
People like Mushroom Coyote absolutely adore Diane. They're the only people in the world that adore her, and they. absolutely love her. And it's like, this person is a total piece of shit. How can you not see that? What happened?
Oh, you dropped out for like 2 seconds. I thought you were gone. All right.
Oh, well, that might happen with the mountain internet there.
There was a sign on Facebook. It says they are permanently closed. Like about 4 restaurants that I really just adored, just relied upon. And I mean, I guess for like 27 years, I've been eating at Luciano's Pizza.
Depended on them.
And
Shaun.
Best crust.
Dude, the best crust, Dan. You know, you can't take these things for granted, okay? I understand, we're poor, so we're like, oh, Little Caesars sounds good. Is it Little Caesars Day? Fuck yeah. She's talking about real pizza from Luciano's, okay?
Yeah. She's been there for almost 3 decades, Shaun.
3 decades, Dan. It's been the same the whole time. Family owned, okay? They have something about the sauce.
And what's funny is that even though this is being a result of the calamity of COVID, even if the family had just up and decided, like, hey, look, we're tired of doing this, we're going to sell it, and they're going to turn this place into a Subway, she would still have the same meltdown. It wouldn't be like, oh, I'm so happy for that family, they made a fortune and now they're going to retire.
No.
It would just be the same exact meltdown. Because that's not what this is about. It's about her not getting her fucking slice today.
It's because Diane's always, I think she's very concerned about, like, being out of control of her own life. I don't think so she's always, like, these things are control measures for her, like this normalcy, this habitual stuff that she can always kind of rely on to give herself structure, because Diane has nothing. Like, we have families, jobs, etc. We have all these things that give our life form and direction and purpose to one degree or another. Diane doesn't have that. Diane's like perpetually a lost 23-year-old person, like, who has no rudders, and she ended up marrying somebody who has money, so she's not working, she's not doing anything. All she does is her activism. All she does is travel. She just never stops. She still has that same mentality. It's like that same, like, really just bizarrely immature perspective on things. I mean, because what Diane represents is the bare bottom of antinatalism. It's like the foundational stuff. There's a lot smarter people involved in that movement, but they just gussy up things that Diane is saying, but it doesn't mean anything more, actually, oftentimes. Diane just has a way of, like a child, just kind of cutting right down to its barest essentials. I think she actually represents the worldview pretty well, honestly. I'm sure most antinatalists would totally disagree with that. They would probably be upset to be compared to diANtinatalist. They're like, what are you talking about? We're talking about philosophy.
They love her.
Really? Do they really? Why?
Because she is that sassy antinatalist who just isn't going to take those breeders' shit anymore.
Is that really?
It's just like, they all look up to her like she's the grandmother. She's the mother goose of all these fucking losers, Shaun.
Well, that's
and,
true.
They all look up to her. And it's just like I saw that person say in Life is Overrated's chat once. Say, we don't need to buy David Benatar's book because we can just watch Life is Overrated videos. It's like these people just scrape the Marmite at the bottom of the barrel and take that as the actual food.
Which is actually honestly kind of encouraging, because it means that they don't really take it very seriously and they will never do anything meaningful with it. They just like to complain on the internet. It just gives them an identity, gives them something to do, which is probably really hazardous for their mental health. Well, I guess could be a problem for everybody, like Mushroom Coyote, the future shooter.
Right. It creates a feedback loop for all of them, the doomers, the DBDRs, the antinatalists, blah, blah. That audience capture creates the feedback loop where they continually get worse and worse and more focused on. Maybe this could have been like a thing that they went through for a year and a half before they finally fucking screwed their head on their shoulders. And now it's like, oh my gosh, like I've got like 450,000 subscribers. Actually, they don't. They do very, very small numbers.
They're topping maybe. I think their biggest one is like 5,000.
Yeah, but they have a really, really intense interaction. They have a very interactive audience. You'll have like a doomer post a video that gets 350 views, and there's 290 comments on it.
Yeah,
you know
no,
what
I know they're
Like,
they're very activated. They're interested. They're there to mix it up. They're invested in what you're doing. I mean, the craziest one to me is DBDR. Like, he has legit like fans.
yeah,
Like the comments of those things, and like when you look around, it's like some of the people that are like leaving the comments, and you go like look at their pages, see if they have videos and stuff. I'm always on the lookout for a new crazy, and but most of them are just sincere. Like, they're very sincere.
Yeah.
They actually just agree with him, and it's really depressing, and it makes me think of my sons that are coming up, that are going to be growing up in this world, and how easy it's going to be for that to happen if I don't like force include myself in like every aspect of their life, because it's very easy, because it's just giving up. Like, giving up is pretty fucking easy. And then to have this abstract ideas about the world and how it works as an excuse to never do anything, or never attempt anything, or never try, this complete like embrace of nihilism is not good. Hagbard says, dude, we have a pizzeria here in Brooklyn called Papa John's that you should try. It's amazing. Dude, Papa John's, yeah, you know? Come on down to Papa John's and get yourself a burger pie, a burger pizza. Tastes like a cheeseburger, but shaped like a pizza.
Ever. And they had a business that was just mind-blowing. They didn't even give coupons out because they were so busy all the time. And because people didn't go back to work, or because people were paid not to work, this business is gone. And
So that's when you get Diane's like based right-wing nut perspective. Like, these people, they need to make their $9 an hour and fucking serve me my fucking buffet and shut up.
This whole paid not to work thing, I know this video was filmed during Corona, but motherfuckers still say that. It is 2023. People were like, well, nobody's out there getting jobs because nobody wants to work. They're getting their money from the government, and they're getting stimulus checks, and
No, the unemployment thing, because that was such like a different. They changed the law like temporarily. I mean, you could collect for a long time, and oftentimes, which is what like kind of brought this back up. Why a lot of places ended up paying more. People can make more money on unemployment than they could work in a full-time job anywhere. And why would you go back to work? So people were like, oh, I'll just ride my unemployment for 6 months until it's out. So that did cause a crisis, I suppose. If you were like a local business owner, that would have really sucked if you were a small business owner.
True, but I think what that truly highlights is that people aren't getting paid enough for their work in America. But
that's what I said. That's what I mean. But that's what I mean. It highlighted the idea that like, oh, well, you're not like, if you can't even make enough to subsist. I mean, at least the American dream should at least encapsulate the idea that you can work a full-time job and like have basic necessities, have an apartment, a house, whatever, a car. You should be able to afford those things, and we should scale, because there hasn't been any adjustment for inflation in a very long, obviously a ridiculous amount of time. But it's a double-edged sword though, because you make some of these, and then you're going to squeeze out all the small businesses because they can't afford that, and then they're going to hire less people. Like, that's what happens.
But
then they close.
My contention was with like conservatards in 2023 still talking about how people don't want to go back to work because they're getting like paid not to work. And that's not the fucking issue. That's not the issue. That's like 2 years ago, and a lot of people
realized that they didn't have to go back to full-time work, and they could. A lot of people like moved in with their families, etc.
Yeah. So there's a larger constellation of issues there. But anyway, I was just pointing out how obnoxious it is for like an out-of-touch boomer to be like, these kids just don't want to work. Meanwhile, Diane hasn't had a fucking job. Diane hasn't been to a job interview in like 45 years. You know what I mean? I
don't know when she married the esteemed Dr. Ken, but it's definitely a weird mismatched relationship. It wouldn't surprise me if they've been married for a while. Trelmick says, Diane had a meltdown over the hot dog and the crust pizza because it's phallic and natalist symbolism. All references available at louderwithcrowder.com.
Oh, wow. You stinger cucked me, dude.
Oh, shit.
I was literally hit.
Oh, the X-Files one?
And it blew my mind because I hit it, and then the Louder with Crowder thing came on, and I was like, what the fuck did
I think, like, usually when it's something that I could read as, like, a factoid, I usually hit the Crowder thing. So I can make the references joke. There's a method to my madness. I don't always do it, obviously, but I try to.
Corner of a very busy intersection, and I cannot believe that, even they couldn't make it. And now with the peanut brittle issue, and now with the pizza issue, I mean...
The peanut brittle issue she's referring to is when she was in a Dollar General and she came across a bag of peanut brittle. Peanut butter brittle was her grandfather's favorite, and then she had a meltdown in the Dollar Tree or Dollar General about how if she had never been born, she would have never lost her grandfather. That's what she was referring to. I think it might have been around. It must have been around the same time. It's that's also another one of my favorite Diane videos because she starts talking about the Sisyphean struggle, and it always makes me laugh.
Like
there's a lot of places open. Granted,
what's that? Oh, she loves
by food. A lot of food related triggers here.
Dude, she's always talking about food, sandwiches. I mean, even when she's outside of a hospital picketing it, she'll like point out the food court and be like, "Oh, they have really good sandwiches there." But they close at 5 o'clock now. Why?
Right? But some of the very best places, the most memorable places are gone because of the pandemic, because everything was shut down, because of, a handful of people were dying.
So this makes the mask thing even funnier because she does not give a shit that people were dying during COVID. She's not even locked into that neurotic, like, mindset. She's like, whatever, like, who cares?
It's crazy, dude. It's so nuts.
What about all the people that are dying from smoking? They're not shutting down smoking, are they? They're still, R.J. Reynolds is still making cigarettes.
Well, they kind of did, Diane.
And in North Carolina, they're still farming tobacco.
They've done a lot of damage to the cigarette industry.
You can't smoke anywhere.
Oh, dude,
you can't smoke anywhere in America.
When we were teenagers, we were smoking at Friendlies in the smoking section. Like, it's only the world changes so fucking fast, dude. So fast. It was 20 years ago, Dan. It was like 20 years ago. Wow,
no,
holy shit.
Literally, we were like 18 at Friendlies smoking cigarettes in the booths. Now, if you lit up a cigarette inside anywhere, in a bar, anywhere, you'd get the bouncers would kick you out, man. You'd get like physically escorted out of there. And it's it's crazy. Yeah. You're right. It's a very quick transition. I remember that there was one last place in Keene that you could smoke cigarettes at a restaurant, and it was the Chili's.
The Chili's, because they have the bar, the special ventilation.
Yeah, they had a special ventilation system in the bar, and even that was taken away from us, Sean.
Yeah, because I remember it was right before I moved, I think, to South Carolina the first time. I went there with my friend, and they're like, "Yeah, this is like one of the only places you can smoke in Keene," and because we had to install this like $100,000 ventilation system, it's like sealed. The bar area was like completely sealed off from the rest of the restaurant, which in fairness is not that bad of an idea. Okay, it was always weird that the smoking section is just like had some ceiling fans and it was like off to the side, but that place was full of fucking smoke. I mean, come on.
Right.
Hagbert says, "Fuck you, Diane. I'll smoke through my stoma eventually." Trembling says she becomes hard right on COVID as soon as it inconveniences her. Yeah, no, she does. She's a chameleon.
What bullshit. I mean, you just don't expect something like this. And this was like really, really major. I mean, just think of your best place, the place that you go to and you relied upon for 2 decades.
Oh, dude, she did it. Decades. Dude, this is like a perfect Diane video. It encapsulates so much about her. It's amazing.
It's like you said Batman 89 sort of like tells the entire story of Batman. This is her version of that.
Yeah.
Almost 3, and then they just shut down. And I just don't need any more upsets.
She's barely holding on.
It just really, really sucks. And the 9/11, terrorist actions that
What?
happened many years ago. I mean, that was a real shocker. That impacted so many people and so many families. It did impact me, but when I lived in Manhattan, I had a beautiful view from my apartment of the Twin Towers. And so that was a fixture that's missing when I go to New York City. So,
even 9/11, she sees as that she is missing out on the good view.
Wow.
It's just like Barry Pepper in fucking the 20th hour.
Exactly. She just made September 11th about herself. That is amazing.
That's some skill. That's a talent right there. Because she really had to, like, because, you know, you're like, what? What are you doing? But then, you know, she brought it back around. And it just related back to her selfishness. You're like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it now.
You're just a ghoul and
He's
a goblin.
nothing but a ghoul and a goblin who works at the basement.
Works at the basement. Trebling says, now she reminds me of the actress woman on Seinfeld that cried when she dropped her hot dog at the baseball game.
there's just so many fucking losses. And, I mean, I'm sure the family, the Lucianos chain, it was a chain. I don't know if the other places are open. When I look at this pretty sky.
Just having a total manic moment.
There's always deer around here, so I have to drive really slow. And it's kind of on a hill.
It also helps when you're just like swinging your cell phone around while you're driving and filming shit, Diane. The dangerous road over here, guys.
So you see the really pretty sunset. Wow. Oh, that's really, really pretty, huh? Pull in here. But anyway, my God. I mean, I've lived here for over 2 decades, and like, I really expected that.
You know, have you ever heard somebody
Never.
like say decades? You know, it's like
Never.
I heard one guy. There's one a movie podcast I used to listen to, or maybe I still listen to it sometimes, and he pronounces critique as critique. And I was like, that's not right. No way. You're definitely doing this to make it a thing. Like, no way. No fucking way.
I don't know. Sometimes people have just never heard a word said out loud. They've read it on paper a lot.
Yeah, she's never encountered decades in the wild. She's like, what? That's not how you say it? Hey, could you pass me that bagel?
Yeah, exactly. The bagel thing.
Trebling says a Tommy Boy like deer impact would really take this video to its desirable end. Yeah, just exploding all over her windshield. Hagbard says her pronunciation of decades is like Shatner's pronunciation of sabotage. Or how does he say it? Sabotage? Shit.
Them to, like, you know, just be here till the end of time. If not, you know, the family, the children or whatever, uncles and aunts, nieces and nephews take over. And even they didn't find a way to, you know, restore the business.
Even they
Shocking.
couldn't do it, Sean. Even the cousins and the aunts and
Listen,
the uncles.
you know
and
what this
all
proves? This all proves one thing.
Even they.
If they had never existed, this would have never happened. Okay? If they had never existed, this day doesn't happen. Diane's happy.
Yeah.
Diane's cool. She's chill.
In like the bowl of spaghetti in the Flash movie. It's like this strand of spaghetti can go 2 ways. Either they don't have enough kids. They don't have enough.
I want to see Diane as like the Michael Keaton, as like in that scene. Just have Diane and be like, "There's a fulcrum. There's fulcrums. There's pivot points."
Oh my God!
Anyways.
Yeah, no, it goes in 2 directions. Either there's not enough kids and the antinatalists win, and there's not enough kids to staff the buffet, or it goes in the other direction and the antinatalists lose, and there is like plenty of like extra people in the Luciano family to take over the business and keep it running. And you know, she actually would sabotage herself by choosing the wrong end of the noodle.
Yeah, she can't reconcile these things. She can't reconcile like reality with her like abstract desire for non-existence.
She's looking very Smeagol-y in this freeze frame that you've got here. Very Andy Serkis kind of column.
Yeah. Hagrid says, I want to see Diane's reaction to the opening scene of The Flash. I think she would have been horrified. She probably would have called the police. Actually, before Dan, before Dan gets off, we'll do a hot 10 minutes on
The Flash.
The Flash. We'll do a hot 10, 15 about The Flash because we both watched it, so we can talk about it. I don't know how. We're riding them high seas. Trembling says it's like low res always pronouncing the word premise as promise. Yes, actually, you know what? Trembling, it is low res who says critique as well. So just just let it be known.
This is a food-loving town, and they just had the best. They just had the best. I mean, so this is not my. It's not my day, and just too many losses. My grandfather and so many places in Pittsburgh. Great places. Like when you go to Market Square.
Died. My favorite pizza shop shut down. It's like, dude, she is like a 3-year-old.
She is, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's all collapsing time and space. She is just like the Flash, dude. That's her life. That's her life. She's like, stuck in the quantum speed realm or whatever.
Yeah,
it's called.
She's
like Luciano's, no Luciano's.
Yeah.
No, how did I end up here?
She gets visited by a Diane from the future.
Yeah, Dark Diane comes
figure it out.
Instead of covered in metal and burnt shit, she's covered in fucking pizza sauce and cheese.
She's almost got it figured out, Sean. Just let her try it one more time.
Just one more time, boys. I can save Luciano's. I know I can. I've almost stopped coronavirus. I had to kill a lot of Jews.
Hagrid says I watched it because of your YouTube short. Woof. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
The best place that was there, NOLA. It's gone. So many memories there. If any of you are, still feeling the effects of, the shutdown, lockdown, just jot your experiences down below because I'm kind of really interested in.
I was going to say feeling the effects of the DMT.
She's like, I have no friends or anybody I actually speak to in real life except my husband. Ken.
She doesn't speak to him.
No, I don't think she does. I think he's. All right. Well, we're gonna. You know what? I think we get the point of that video. I don't think there's anything really. I think she just literally has been repeating herself for 5 minutes, just saying the same thing over. So much loss. So much loss. All right. So we're gonna dive into this. So there was a website called scumbagged.com, and apparently it's gone. It worked like last week when Dan discovered it. Sent me a screen cap of it, which I immediately went and looked up. But for whatever reason, it's not working. But people hate Diane so much, they have it archived on like random sites. Like this, it's archived on postalmostanything.com. I've never heard of that. I don't know what the fuck that is. Trebling says, quote unquote, my ice was too cloudy in my glass of Coke. What else can go wrong with this shitty day? Hagrid says she just wanted a slice of Sicilian and a couple of Zeppel. Listen, she wants what she wants. Oh, Dan's not there. I'm sorry. That's my bad. I'm not used to having somebody here. I'm like Diane. I'm used to being alone. I'm used to being all alone. You know what? You know who I really want to talk to out of all these people is Alex.
Oh yeah.
I want to pick that guy's brain. I want to see what Alex is all about. Okay, so like I said, this article was originally on scumbagged.com. Let's hit a little music, huh? Get a little funky in here. Turn it down to a nice, subtle background noise. We in the club. We're in the club, guys. Narcissistic barfly Diane Bandy from Wexford, Pennsylvania is not only a dog hoarder and a child hater, but she is also a sloppy, disgusting drunk. She is an absolute embarrassment. Her husband must be so ashamed to be married to such a radical, left-wing loser. Diane and her husband live near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Diane, diANtinatalist Bandy. There she is. There's our love. There's our girl. You coming over, girl? Light the candle. Gotcha, bitch. Diane Elaine Bandy, a.k.a. diANtinatalist, or child-free Diane, is a rude, selfish bitch. This loser is over 60 years old and acts like an impatient, mentally retarded child. She could be autistic, but is too ignorant to know it. Diane Bandy is also a dog abuser and a child hater. She says she's a dog advocate, but her hoarding and carelessness has caused several of her dogs to die inside of her former home at Allison Park when it had caught on fire years ago. Diane has always hated children, along with the mothers who have them. This obnoxious barfly is an online pest who cyberstalks mothers and degrades them. Diane's vile loathing of innocent babies and the mothers who have them is disturbing. In real life, this cyberstalker is also a Karen who harasses mothers with strollers inside shopping malls because she doesn't approve of them being in her personal space. Diane Bandy is a spoiled, selfish bitch who loves shopping and spending the money that her doctor husband works so hard to make. Your kid crying and making noise while she's shopping disturbs her. It's all about her, and she will let you know it. So far, pretty fair representation. I do love that everybody's like always, out of all this stuff, the husband always, everybody's like, Dr. He's a very nice guy. He's a very good man. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why he's with her. Like, what's going on?
Get it? What is it, some kind of code name or something? I don't get it.
Okay. This nasty whore loves abortions. Diane Bandy is a selfish cunt who is obsessed with abortions. She wishes abortions were given at every convenience mall, like pedicures. Nothing would make this egocentric pig happier than having an abortion, and then getting pampered at a spa afterwards with a refreshing cocktail in hand to celebrate her freedom.
You know, this with the Kevin Samuels music playing in the background is totally surreal. I feel like I'm in 3 dreams at once or something.
Dude, Kevin Samuels would be losing his mind, dude. He'd be like, that shit is trifling. It's a good thing her menopausal ancient ass is now too old to conceive. You know what'd be funny if this was just written by her husband? That's why they're also...
Get your shit together. This is trifling.
That's why they're also conciliatory towards him.
Right, yeah, they all...
He's like, you guys just don't know how it is.
Dr. Kim is a very good man.
Dr. Ken's like, there is no prenup. I can't. She's established the lifestyle. I don't want to pay for it.
Dude, his green card is all caught up in this shit, man. He can't say anything or he gets deported.
Shit, man. Let me see here. Diane also hates poor people, macho men, veterans, blacks, and children of any race. Diane really hates sharing a plane ride with these types of people. If she doesn't want babies, children, mothers, blacks, and others that don't fit into her social class and her personal space, then she should stay the fuck home where she belongs. To be honest, we don't want a skanky, low-life bitch like her in our personal space anyway. Diane Bandy is a menace and a mentally ill nutbag. Man, they really let her have it.
Yeah, they got him in there.
This narcissist is indeed disturbed and is a borderline psychopath. Diane Bandy should be on the terror watch list and should have her passport revoked. This batshit woman is too incompetent to travel and be on board planes. diANtinatalist Bandy should not be allowed to travel anymore because she is mentally unstable. Her husband is too nice of a man to put up with this selfish, cheating, lazy, jobless piece of shit. Diane Bandy is a sponge, a fucking parasite who lives off her husband, Dr. Koo. She does not work. Instead, she goes on excursions, shops, and spends tons of money. I'm telling you, he wrote this. He definitely wrote this shit. Diane travels around the world talking shit to her shit in her child-hating YouTube videos. She lives like a single socialite, loving life and living life to the fullest, yet she tells her viewers that life is so horrible and that you shouldn't bring children into this terrible, overpopulated world. What a lying, hypocrite bitch. If life was so horrible, Diane wouldn't be out there getting her worldwide buffet of food, drink, and dicks. The dicks is in all caps. She wouldn't be enjoying life so much if her life truly sucked that bad. Diane has been getting a free ride on the gravy train for years. This woman is a walking shit show. Diane Bandy is a lying, unemployed, uneducated, hypocritical joke. Wow. Round of applause for Dr. Ken. I know you're there, buddy. I know you're out there, brother. You're doing what you got to do. You got to get that prenup. If Kevin Samuels had gotten a hold of Dr. Ken,
it would have been
could have avoided
all
this.
different. Yeah.
Life would have been different. Things would have been. It would have just been. Man, we could have saved this guy.
Dr. Ken got married to Diane,
and this is where the whole thing goes topsy-turvy.
No Lies Detected. It is where it went on. For him, it's definitely where it went topsy-turvy. He's like buying like these, close to $1 million homes. Diane's filling them with like dogs, and then she leaves for months at a time to travel. And he's like, what the fuck? It's like 30 dogs here. Diane, I have to work. Oh, you'll be fine. Just dump some dog food on the floor. Like, Diane, they've destroyed our house. There's shit everywhere, Diane. She's like, not my problem. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me.
She's already having her cup of water refilled at the Indian buffet. She has nothing to worry about. This is your problem. She says, that sounds like a YP.
Yeah, because she's cool. She's hip. So she would say it like that. Alex, so I was talking to Alex. He says YP. I like that. I like it. And you guys keep me young. You keep me so young. Trembling says, I kind of wish Diane took DMT. It would put her in an existential panic and demand her husband pay for risky fertility treatments. Trembling says, she smells like mothballs and has dog hair on every shirt she wears. Yeah, I mean, she definitely lays with her dogs while eating vegan nuggets from KFC.
Yeah, but then like mothballs with like some kind of nasty like pearberry melon like Avon spray on.
Well, that's the thing. I think she probably is very like she's hygienic. Like she showers. She seems like the type of person that would be particular in that way about her body, but she will live in filth.
Yes.
Like, so it doesn't matter that she's doing all that, but she thinks it does because she's mentally fucked in the head.
And also, she's like 65, so it doesn't matter how much like pearberry spritzer she puts on her. She like the smell of death and oldness is just about her.
Yeah, you can put all that bouquet on you as much as you want, Diane. I can still smell the death. So can our boy, Dr. Ken. I gotta turn it up. There we go. Oh, I had the music on a loop. I thought you were hitting it. Just kept hitting it too. Never mind. Big Tom's in the house. He says, greeting to Shaun Zubox and Dan NIGHTCAP. What's going on, buddy?
Good evening. If Tom, you should definitely meet us.
Meet me in the garden.
If Diane's favorite restaurant was named The Garden, do you know what she would say to Alex?
Meet me in the garden.
Well, it is one of her favorite restaurants, Dan. It's called the Olive Garden. Diane doesn't discriminate. Right. She goes to local businesses and stuff, of course. I mean, that's obviously her thing. She likes to support the community, but she's not afraid of a chain. She's not afraid of a chain. She don't judge. Afraid of a chain,
but even still, at the end of the day, one of her favorite restaurants is that quirky one downtown. That's
He's nothing but a ghoul and a goblin who works at the basement.
Yeah, there's
a lot of those teenagers from the high school work at the basement, and that's why she goes there. They
keep her young. They keep her young.
Exactly. Exactly.
She used to go to I don't know. She used to sometimes She used to drive to DC and go to a place called Comet Pizza. She said she was there for the art and the music. She didn't even care about the pizza. But you know what? I'm not buying it. I've seen the pictures, Diane, with the one glove. You and Tom Hanks. I'm up to you. I'm fucking on to you guys. Okay. Trembling says,
"It's
what? What? What are you gonna say?"
Alex is just using Diane as a beard because you know what Alex said on his last stream, Sean?
What did he say?
He said he's gay, and it does appear that part is actually true.
Well, yeah, I mean, Diane is definitely a fag hag if I've ever seen one. But at the same time, though, I think that Diane would make him. It would be like rape.
Oh yeah,
it'd be like rape. He wouldn't really want to because he'd be like, Diane, I'm gay, and she'd be like, well, fuck this bussy bitch, and she'd present her ass to him. Trelming says, she lets rancid vegan farts slide out silently all through the day. She does, too. Big Tom says, I own Comet Pizza. Proud owner, proprietor of Comet Pizza. No. What? Boy love? What are you talking about? That's a pizza slice in a swirl. What are you talking about? Wouldn't you like almond-covered pizzas to have at your pool party?
No hair
wouldn't you like $50,000 of fucking hot dogs, buddy?
Yeah, no hair on my pizza, no hair on my hot dogs, please.
Yeah, please. Oh, you like walnuts on your pizza, son? Oh, we'll see. Yeah, we got plenty of those. We got to call somebody though. We gotta bust them in.
So weird. I called to order a pizza and Uma Aberdeen picked up the phone. It was fucking weird.
What? And then Maria Abramovich showed up to my house and did a spirit cooking instead of bringing me pizza, which I thought was very strange. But she did let me eat sushi off of Lady Gaga's naked body.
I asked for a refund. None of the spirits that were on my pizza were cooked fully.
No.
I asked for a refund.
That's why that place is going downhill. People thought it was because, it's a child sex trafficking thing. It's like, no, it's quality of product. You know what they're going to have to do? They're not like Luciano's. They're going to have to start giving out coupons at the Comet Pizza to get people in there. Okay, I'm telling you right now. Trembling says, the basement does a great artisan black mold and goat cheese pizza. Oh. All references available at ladderwithcrowder.com. Big Tom says, I think we need to call an official Zoobox party at Sean's house. Tom will bring the Comet Pizza. Oh, no, Tom. No. Hold on. What are you talking about, buddy?
I hope he's talking about a green-colored cleaner and then a frozen pizza,
because that must be. Well, what's going on out there? Hey, whoa. You okay, buddy? What's going on out there? What's going on? Oh, we got Big Cato the Wiser in the house. Well, I haven't seen you in the chat in a minute, Cato. Well, I see your comments on Odyssey. I just haven't seen you in the chat. He says, Dan, ultra-nationalist.
Oh, cool. If we were to use a Hollywood term, we'd say shots fired, shots fired.
Oh, man, you almost got me. I almost spit out some fucking drink again. You almost got me again, Dan.
Oh, right. Yeah, by the way, if anybody wants to see me getting Shaun into a spit take, check out the Batman 89 episode that we did.
It's on an episode, and it's also, if you look up on our Instagram, there's a clip of it, too. It was too good. I had to clip it out.
Genuine spit take. Once in a lifetime thing.
Big Tom says, sorry, I've been snorting some Little Caesars, so I'm high on pizza. Oh, dude, that's like my favorite day of the week. Especially nowadays, that's like cheat
a Little
day.
Caesars where you live?
Oh, yeah, dude, they're all over the place.
Really? It must be an original thing. I haven't seen a Little Caesars in like 15 years.
Yeah, probably where you guys live, there might not be one. Yeah, that's true. Wow.
I didn't even think it really
existed. Because I think they almost went into bankruptcy and all that stuff, and then they have the $5 pizzas kind of brought them back, which is still pretty much a thing. Like, it's the cheap gross. I have acquired a taste for it.
Well, you and I have a very similar palate.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's not good pizza, but it hits the fucking spot, and and it's fun, and it's like $6, and you're like, okay. Because if you want to go get real pizza nowadays, dude, without all of the things we were just talking about, it's like $20 for a pizza.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah, $20, and which is, I understand why it's that, but that's like, when you have to buy like 3 of them to feed, or like 2 of them to feed a family and stuff, like, it's not something I can do regularly. But when I have a little 6-year-old that he wants to have his pizza day, we can just go pick up a $5 Little Caesars.
It's like there's a Sam Hyde video from back in the day, from must be like 2014 or whatever, where he's like just walking around the apartment with a cell phone, and he's talking about how when they were out in L.A., they were hanging out with this old dude, and he was like, man, back in my day when I was your guys' age, I used to live off of pizza. He was crazy. And Sam Hyde was like, dude, a pizza's like $16. I can't afford to live off of pizza. What the fuck are you talking about?
I posted a while ago. I posted that stack of the Tostino's fucking frozen pizzas, the little personal pizza things. There's like and I remember I used to do that. Literally would take like 3 of them or 4 of them, fucking put them in the microwave and just fucking 10 minutes, 12 minutes in the microwave, very healthy, and then just chew all that shit down. And I was looking at it, I was like, dude, that's like a $16 fucking thing now.
Yeah.
Like if you like, because that's they're $2 a piece now.
Wow.
For frozen Tostinos, like those little square pizzas. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I've always had the Mama Celeste index. Has always been a great way to tell what the economy's like, because the Mama Celeste pizza was 99 cents for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And the pizza itself apparently went to, I read a lot about this because I had a Mama Celeste pizza for the first time in like 20 years, like
that's like just that bread that never gets crispy.
Yeah, it must have been during like coronavirus or something. But they took the crisping disc out of it, a little silver disc that's supposed to crisp it up.
Save
they
that money.
stopped putting that in it, and then now when you look at Mama Celeste pizzas in the store, the last time I looked at them, they must have been like $1.29 a piece. And dude, that's a huge bump after they've been 99 cents for 20 years.
$1.29 and no crisper.
No,
I mean, like,
crisper?
what the fuck are you supposed to do?
Are you shitting me? Mama Celeste is literally turning over in her grave in Naples, Italy, okay?
And then she's like, I would have been better if I had never existed. This wouldn't have happened to my good name.
Bringing it back around to the episode.
Kato says, remember or have ever seen a Godfather's pizza? You mean, is that the fucking, that dude? 555. Doesn't he own
That's
Godfather's Pizza? Herman Cain.
Herman Cain was $9.99.
Oh,
was
$9.99.
Herman Cain Godfather's Pizza?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I forget what. Yeah, that must have been it.
Trembling says, down south, they're two to a town, basically. Yes. Actually, yes, they are. On either side of town, you'll have the good one, and then you'll have the bad one on the bad side of town. And if your town is big enough, there'll be like 3 or 4 of them, all strategically placed around so that no matter where you are in that town, you can hit a Little Caesars on the way home. It's very smart. Trembling says, Big Tom says, yeah, no Little Caesars in New England, but when I go to Sean's house, I spend like 4 days straight at Little Caesars. He also says, this conversation has me in the mood for the great A-Hop. Now, A-Hop is Athol House of Pizza. That's what I grew up eating, and it used to be amazing. I can't speak for it today. I haven't been back there in 17 years, but that shit used to be the bomb. Trembling says, Arizona green teas aren't even 99 cents anymore either, I don't think. No, and the dollar store is no longer the dollar store. Everything is like $1.29, something like that now.
Man, when I was growing up, we used to ride our bikes from my grandma's house down to this. There was like this doll shop that would sell like craft stuff to old ladies and whatever.
Yeah.
And they had a penny candy counter at the counter.
That was a staple.
Ride our bikes down there and buy fucking pieces of candy for 1 penny, dude. In my lifetime.
Yeah, no, I used to do the same thing. I had a I know you've probably been to the store. You remember the Four Corners?
Yeah.
Four Corner store in Richmond, New Hampshire?
Yeah.
I used to live right down the street from there, and my mom would take all the kids and fucking truck us up there to go buy quarter sodas and 10-cent candies and shit like that. Yeah. They had a little. I mean, they were a little bit more expensive than a penny, but there were I'd been to places where there was still penny candy. It's like
that was back in like 92. I'd say that was back around when Ballet Bat was still hanging around.
Ballet Bat was still standing in for Keats.
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to watch now is a little news segment. Diane made the news. Maybe not in name or presence, but or name or physical presence, but her spirit is all over this thing. You're going to see Diane's house. You're actually going to see the outside of her house. Pretty incredible stuff. Amazing footage.
New right now at 5, the Halloween decorations outside one North Hills home are causing a big debate right now, and we want to warn you, it's a little bit disturbing, a little disquieting. It includes...
This is what's outside of Diane's house during Halloween. No baby, no cry.
You know she leaves this up for like months afterward.
Oh, yeah, she's got to. I wonder if it's even a Halloween decoration at all. It's just new lawn ornaments at Diane's spooky castle. Big Tom says the Four Corners sadly no longer standing. Yeah, so I heard.
Baby dolls covered in blood, some of them with their heads ripped off, and some bizarre messages written on them. Some neighbors told Channel 11's Liz Kilmer it's part of the fun, while others say their children won't be trick-or-treating there.
It's typical to see your standard Halloween decorations, your pumpkins this time of year, but one display in McCandless has some folks unhappy and calling town leaders saying...
And like you could tell that she lives like in a nice little area. This is a nice little suburb.
Yes.
You know, they have the McCandless Town Hall here. Very nice. Looks kind of new. Trembling says, edgy goth girl Diane. Yeah, she definitely has a little edgy goth girl in her for sure.
Saying it's gone too far. As the leaves change and fall, we notice more pumpkins, spider webs, skeletons. But this display outside of this McCandless couple's home isn't so typical.
Won't be sending the kids to that house, but we're good otherwise.
At the edge of the property.
I just looked up some demographics for McCandless, Pennsylvania. 90% white.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. Well, that goes with that blog post that Dr. Ken wrote about how she doesn't like the blacks, as Bill Pierce would say, the blacks. Let me see here. Hagbert says, I just did the Google Street View tour of her area. It's quaint. Yeah, I imagine it is. Trebling says, Diane is someone who genuinely put razors and apples in poison candy. Oh, she totally would. She could get away with it. If she thought she could get away with it. And then she'd be like up in the window cackling as she's watching the kids like in the Take One bowl. Hagbert says, well, her house is only 50% white.
Median. Oh wow, that's brutal. That was good. I liked that. Median household income for McCandless is $92,000.
Yeah. Okay.
So doing pretty good.
I think they're probably a little above that. It would seem. He has, I think, a private practice.
But like the I think your average median household income for the United States is like $40,000. So they're doing twice as good.
It's like 38 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing nicely over there.
Yeah. So one of these signs says, and to think I used to be a little baby before my big parents imposed life on me and a death sentence. Such a nice lady.
He rests in a parent graveyard with severed and bloodied baby dolls next to signage like Born to Die and No Baby, No Cry.
Well, I actually haven't really studied it. As long as it doesn't...
Look at this cuck. He can't even cop to it. He can't even say it's weird. He's like, I never even noticed it until you pointed it out to me. Got this mask in my way. Trying to do my part. This would have been October 2020.
Just a real quick dip into a little more statistics about where Diane lives. The percentage of persons in poverty in McCandless is 4%.
Wow.
Average rate of people's in poverty in America, 11.6%. So you've got about 1/3 of the poverty rate. So basically, she's living in a place where everybody's living a little fucking touched, as Shaun likes to put it.
I mean, honestly, like, would I live in this? I would 100% move my fucking family to this area. Are you kidding me? Yeah, safe, affluent, around people that I don't know what to fucking worry about.
I couldn't do it because the homeowners association.
Oh yeah, well that's true. that's a fair point. Homeowners associations below. I don't have one, thankfully.
The homeowners association would look at my family moving in and go,
Why are there goats?
Trembling says Dr. Ken married Diane because she stomps his balls in high heels and screams at them that they better not produce sperm. Oof. That's a hot take, and I like it. I like it.
If we were to use a Hollywood term, we'd say shots fired, shots fired.
Shots fired, shots fired. I think Big Paul should doctor up that and add like Star Wars music and like fucking laser beams and shit.
Like Greedo shooting first. Speaking of Big Paul, I was just about to hold on a second. Cheers, Big Paul. This one's for you.
You gotta do it.
And this is for you, Paul.
Nice chase. So it's okay with me.
Some neighbors, however, aren't taking the display so lightly. A Facebook post from the McCandless Council president notes that...
Okay, so this is how these people in this town deal with things. They're non-confrontational. Everything's passive-aggressive. They're reporting on a Facebook post. Like, this is how they'll do their business. And Diane's one of these people. We're going to read a story about what she did with the ASPCA lady. Kimberly Zachary, thanks everyone for your comments and opinions. I've gotten complaints about this display and wanted to hear opinions from more citizens. Of course, it is covered under the First Amendment, as many of you said. If you are interested in voicing your opinion about anything in the town of McCandless, please visit the town's new official interactive website. You can take surveys. You can fact-check community rumors. We care about what you think and want to hear from you.
While it's covered under the First Amendment, she has received complaints about it. At the home on Reichhold Road, we spoke with a man who lives there, but he didn't have a comment. Later, things took a turn.
That's Dr. Ken. Dr. Ken, he met a guy who lives there, but he didn't have a comment.
He did not have a comment.
He's just like, guys, could you please just leave? I'm tired. I worked fucking 80 hours this week saving children. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
And, well, you know, it's actually the irony of her husband being a doctor. That's kind of crazy.
It is, because he's
in the business of he's in the business of like saving life.
Oh, guys, also, if you were interested, it looks like Ballet Bat has a new interview up on YouTube, so go check that out.
Oh, dude, either you should cover it or we should cover it at some point. Definitely do a night with Ballet Bat. At least make him a featured segment.
Oh yeah, we have to. If anybody was interested in who Ballet Bat is, go watch the Batman '89 episode.
Hagbard says, "quote unquote," Thorazine stopped working. Help me, Dr. Ken.
His wife reached out to us over the phone, and apparently...
So, Dr. Ken basically was like, yeah, there's reporters like in front of our house because of the Halloween stuff. And she's like, oh, really? Did you give him my contact information? No. Ken, don't you know this is part of my activism, Ken? This was an opportunity. I really could have got my message out there to a wider audience. What the fuck, Ken? I'm calling him, Ken. Get me their number, Ken.
Can you imagine what it's like to be him? He's so terrified all the time.
Yeah, I imagine he's got to be like such a demure, like just beaten down old Asian guy. Just, or maybe he's like really old school and this is like his trophy American wife. I don't know. I don't know where he isn't, like if he's like recently emigrated or if it's like if he's second generation. I don't know.
Well, you know what we got to do now. We got to dox him and do a deep dive on him.
I'm trying not to, because if you bring up his name on screen, like it's all of his information about like where all of his practices are, and if people want to look, they can look. But I'm not. Oh, and I just want to say, as a disclaimer, in case this ever comes back around for whatever reason, I do not encourage contacting these people or harassing them or talk to them. I know everybody in chat knows that. This is for posterity. This is for the people that will inevitably hate watch this in a couple days when I upload it to YouTube.
Hopefully they don't get the urge to contact her within an hour and 20 minutes into the episode, because we couched we couched it deep into the epised there.
That's okay. I just need, just a solid disclaimer. It doesn't matter where it is, Dan. Because if I was in there, if I was to go to court, I would be like, well, it was so obvious that I feel this way. I didn't feel the need to express it.
Well, it's a lot like the yellow turmeric and the digestive enzymes that Dave Hodges sells. It doesn't matter where they are in there; they're in there. And They pass the blood-brain barrier, and they're in there.
Trembling says, Ballet Bat, I bet money is lying and saying he was in the Flash, but they digitally replaced him. They should have, they should have done the right thing. He was probably waiting for a call. He's like, oh, Keaton's going back to work. Starts rubbing his hands. Looks like I better get to the gym. And they never called.
This display isn't just for Halloween thrills. She says rather it represents a philosophy she talks about on YouTube called antinatalism, which believes in voluntary human extinction.
Every biological parent's children will bleed, sweat, and cry.
To protect humans from life's suffering. Meantime, though, some passersby...
She framed it as protect humans from life suffering. That's how they sell it. That's what they say to make them sound like virtuous. We're trying to protect people here. We're trying to save people from inconvenience.
They seem to feel the display is what's causing distress. In McCandless, I'm Liz Kilmer, Channel 11 News.
Well, there you go. There you have it.
Liz Kilmer, all these Batman connections, too.
Spooky stuff, man. Spooky stuff. I also found through this, and I had found this a long time ago. Actually, I think I watched the video off of it. Her old WordPress site, back when she would go by the name the child-free antinatalist. She's a real mensch there. All right. Now you had put another one in the dossier. Is that one we should look at?
Yeah, we only need to watch the first minute of it, and I put it there because, well, like antinatalists have this knack for getting what I call ambience cucked, where like wherever they're trying to make a point. See, it just happened to me from her win. Whenever they're trying to make a point, like something will, like a bulldozer will drive by, or the wind will blow really loud, or a car will drive, like a police siren will be really loud driving by, and it'll just completely drown out the point that they're trying to make. Or there's one of my favorite classic examples of it is like Alex is in like a pool somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, because we always have to turn up the shit. Like I have to go get the booster on and like.
Yeah. So he's like in a pool in a big room that's just like sucking up all of the sound waves of his voice.
And he talks like this. He talks like this. He's like, Diane.
Right, he has like a weak little effeminate voice that doesn't carry in the first place. So he gets like ambience cucked by the pool room itself. And I wanted to play this. We don't even have to watch the whole thing, just the first couple of minutes, as a classic example of Diane and every antinatalist.
That's why she's right.
Cucked.
That's why they're right. You know, maybe
right.
there is just something personal against them that life just like hates them so much. It's like
it's not even personal against them. It's just that life always gets in the way of everything, Shaun.
I think, honestly, I do like, maybe this is a little woo-woo or something, but maybe like you really, like they put off energy that like manifests the reality for themselves. Like it's a little, it's a little like plugged into the Matrix perspective, but like it just seems like the stars align for it to be like kind of confirm their biases and stuff, even when they're trying to film something, life is fucking them, cucking them somehow.
Right.
Trembling says, quote unquote, every child will burn their mouth from pizza rolls and lose their save on PlayStation, or even have their sweater shrink in the dryer.
Ooh.
It's better that they were never born. Better that they were never here. I've had all of those things happen to me. Okay, and I was on the edge. One day when we got the time, when I got the time, I'll tell you how I learned what the word reformatting meant.
Oof.
Life is extremely traumatizing, no matter how you cut it. Damn every biological parent to hell. There has to be a special hell in store for biological parents for inflicting harm on their unassuming young and their unconsenting young. They totally gambled with their children's lives.
She turns the camera and Pittsburgh is just getting like air-rated in the background. There's just bombs dropping. The Russians have fucking fully invaded, and she's just making a fucking diANtinatalist video.
And just doesn't skip a beat either. Doesn't skip a beat.
No.
See, parents, see what you have wrought upon the world, that she lifts up into the sky like a witch.
She starts getting ambience cucked by air raid sirens.
Yeah, that's like, it'll be a funny skit. Just her just trying to make this 2-minute video for like 3 days.
Yes.
And it'll be quiet for like hours, and then as soon as she fires it up,
exactly.
It's repulsive that anybody would bring a child into the world for their selfish reasons. And all reasons are selfish when people choose to reproduce.
I mean, this is possible. It is a little selfish. It's a little self-serving. It's a little bit born out of our own ego. Like, we want to live forever. We want our legacy to live forever, even if that's on a subconscious level. We want it.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You just say, yeah, I do. And it's the biological imperative. It's not really much you can do. Like, these people have to do so much work, put so much effort into fucking gaslighting themselves, into like It's like people that it's like kind of what we're trying to do with kids with like, and I know we talk about this all the time, but with like, you know, like the stuff going on with kids and like the trans movement, etc., or the drag time story hour stuff. It's like grooming people to not identify red flags, like to ignore all those things. And they've done like a version of that to themselves, where they kind of like groom themselves and their followers to deny like kind of basic things that make you happy or fulfill your life, and then they just start avoiding them. So they don't do anything that could even potentially be seen as something positive or constructive, even if it's selfishly for themselves. Like they won't even do that because Diane's out there being a witch. Big Tom says, man, this chick makes me want to have a kid, even though I don't plan to. Treming says, I would love to re-edit all her videos so her lipstick is smeared around her mouth and she looks just a little bit more crazy. Get one of the... Actually, no, you just get like the Joker filter. Just put it on all of her videos.
Hey, didn't you say Cato the Wiser wasn't here?
He was earlier, yeah.
Well, you know what, Cato?
I was thinking about you.
I was thinking about you. All right. So she's getting cucked hard by the wind. Let's see here. Okay, so I wanted to watch some of this. I hope I can find the spot where Diane talks about how terrified she is of dying. Now, we know that Diane has recently spent some time in India, and apparently maybe it had more of an effect on her than she would let on. You know, it wasn't just, you know, obviously the sufferings were there. The sufferings, the 12 sufferings of Diane. Like, they were all there, obviously. But maybe she kind of, you know, stewed on them for a little bit. And now that she's on the back end of her trip, she's headed home. She's kind of pondering things, these conversations she's had with these fucking based Indian guys that are definitely not sleeping with her. She had her brains fucked out, okay? Brains fucked out. Hot tea, more like hot cock.
And it was perfect for her because Indian men have notoriously small penises.
And so that's perfect, exactly.
She wasn't inconvenienced or overstimulated in any way.
It wasn't. That's why she's with Dr. Ken. Now, I hate to say it because, you know, there's stereotypes about, you know, Dr. Kens, too. She just likes, she likes a kind of a small dick.
Right.
You know, Alex, Dr. Ken, we can assume.
That's why she won't even respond to Zoobox messages.
Well, actually, she did. I don't know if she's responded again, but I kind of, she thought she was trying to dunk on me by just saying like random intranet insults. Like, whatever, incel. You'll never get a mature 10 like me.
Oh, darn.
Oh, no. Trembling. Oh, no. Okay. Says, Trembling says dengue fever. Dengue fever? Maybe a little bit. He also says, too bad that cab driver's monkey children weren't able to steal her teeth. Oh, my God. Oh, I'm glad I didn't have anything to drink in my mouth. I would have just fucking spit that all over the place. I'm a spitter now. All right. I think you're going to go back a little bit. Because I ended up kind of getting caught up in it last night when I was editing the intro.
My comfort level and my boundaries. And it's a huge challenge. Life is a huge challenge. And
so she's talking about her neuroses, how she's actually very brave for going out and doing things because she doesn't want to, because she's afraid to. So she's very brave. She's very brave that she goes on trips and stuff like that, you know.
You know,
she even says the words "I love life" in this video. Like, she's having a real like moment. Ooh, yeah. Wow. I just hope I don't miss it. It's too long to watch the whole thing, but I don't want to miss it though.
I wish I could keep this forever. It looks really good with my bracelets, huh? So, I guess this video was to proclaim that I am not a natural. I have gradually progressed and accustomed myself, and I had little goals for myself that I made, and I overcame fears by crossing my comfort level and my boundaries. and it's a huge challenge. Life is a huge challenge, and you know, I'm almost 62, and I would never repeat this journey.
Fucking India was tough.
Yeah, dude.
It was too hot, motherfucker. It was tough. She was like, I would never fucking go to that place again. That shithole. Tom says she's so brave. She's almost as brave as Meghan Markle, but not quite approaching that level of bravery. Almost. I'm sure Meghan Markle is like a fucking idol of hers. She just goes out there and says what needs to be said. Okay, she puts on the chips on the table and says what needs to be said.
I feel like dishonored that I was placed into this world. I have suffered greatly. I am a sufferer.
I'm waiting for one story where I'm like, man, Diane, that's really tough. I feel bad for you. I'm waiting for one. I haven't come across one. Trumping says she went and fucked Indians specifically because Dr. Ken hates them and shit talks his Indian colleagues in the medical field. All references available at louderwithcrowder.com.
Most of you probably don't know how much I suffer. A few people do. And I'm going to do a video pretty soon about specific sufferings, and I'm taking notes on it, and I will deliver that.
It's like when you watching Diane videos is like buying an entire box of like Little Debbie Swiss rolls. Okay, you only want 2 of them.
Oh yeah, no,
but you bought the whole box, and now you're.
Sometimes though, when you give up too soon, like I almost quit before I saw that she went to India. And then I watched the 12 Sufferings video, and I would have been. It was one of the funniest. It was one of the best Diane videos. It was so quintessential. It was so perfect. So you got to go through all that shit. You know, you got to really be mining in that tunnel, find those resources, find that gold. You know,
you gotta
it's work. It's hard work.
All those sufferings, you have to move through the sufferings so that you can be enlightened.
Yeah, Big Tom says we should just do a whole episode about people who suffer. Well, all people who complain is really what you mean. A lot of people who suffer are pretty stoic about it because it's just part of their regular life. Like people who deal with like chronic pain. Not to suggest that there aren't people that have that affliction that won't shut the fuck up about it. That so much so that you just stop feeling bad for them. But most people don't because they know that it's annoying. Trelling says, is that supposed to be paint or tattoos on her hand or something horrible she caught in India? Disease. No, those are her fucking cool henna tattoos, man.
As soon as I can recover from this trip and get over the fatigue and unpack all of my things and just,
She was so fatigued and stuff, she got Dr. Ken to call a life flight for her. That's why she's laying down. She's in an emergency life flight helicopter back to the compound. McCandless.
It cost the poor dude like $15,000 for a private helicopter flight to get that lady out of there. You know what I mean?
She's like, Ken, if you don't do this, Ken, I'll suck another dick. He's like, no. Tell me more. Tell me again. Tell me again. What nasty things have you done? He's like jerking off. All right. That's why he wrote that blog post too. Do you think he doesn't? He's always checking the numbers on that thing, and he's always busting. He's always busting one over it. He's like, he got 7 views today. Well, you're welcome, Dr. Ken. They were probably me. Trelling says, is that supposed to be paint? Oh, we already read that.
All of the suffering that occurred on this trip and all the complications and, missing my dog, my family at home. And this was a big shock to my system. It was truly uncomfortable, truly hard. every day I woke up and I had to face heat and discomfort and fatigue and body pain. And alone, I don't have a travel partner on this trip.
I guess Dr. Ken wasn't. He was like, I'm not paying for Alex again. I'm not doing it. Hagrid says, "Can we get Diane to go to Haiti?" I think we should petition her. You might want to drop into her comment section. Maybe suddenly start mentioning Haiti. Like, I think you could do a lot of good work there. Maybe you could get a sponsorship from the Clinton Foundation. I hear they like a lot of Comet pizza there. Heard that's where they get a lot of their herbs and spices.
And so, and I'm not a person who's happy about life. I do have certain ambitions, and I love to travel, and I love to see things. I love the entertainment of being on a trip, and I love photography. I love dogs. I love.
Dude, this is like serious. This is like listening to a vapid 16-year-old girl. The artsy girl. Like, this is how she would talk. Or a very particular kind of artsy girl. Actually, I think I have one in my head. Do you remember Emma?
Yes.
Emma would grow up to be diANtinatalist. At least from what I remember her. It's probably a very hazy, unfair memory, but...
It is. Emma is way too kind and gentle of the soul to be this bitter and shitty.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear that. That's just a distorted memory I have then. Trelling says, Dr. Ken thinks she's a trophy wife and just accepts her behavior as the cost of having a hot piece of ass. All references available at louderwithcrowder.com. I think he is probably, it must be true. It must be true.
I love to see the way other people live. I love foods. I have so many things that I love about life. I have so many things that I hate about life. And that's what makes me very sad.
It's almost like oh, you're like a person. You're like a regular person. Oh my God, you have the preferences. Holy shit!
About eventually dying, because I will have to leave all of it behind. And the prospect of dying is just so unfair for everybody. And Surfaraz asked me, it was a trick question that he asked.
So that's like part of their thing. Like the thought, she's so terrified of the thought of dying. Like just the inevitability of it is too crushing for her. So she would have, she'd rather just people not exist so they don't have to experience dying. See, it's a small little moment. It's a small moment, but it tells you a lot about where Diane's at right now. She's having that existential crisis. She's getting into her 60s. She's like, death is like 20 years away. It's never been closer. She's thinking about like trying to fit all this stuff into her life like before she dies, traveling and shit. And how her body hates it. Like how she's too old to do it now, kind of. Or to continue to do it. I'm sure she's been doing this for a while. Trembling says, imagine her turning up at his office screaming at him because the buffet was closed for lunch while he was trying to give a patient a serious diagnosis. Oh, I could definitely see that. Ken, where's Ken? Ken, Luciano's, it wasn't there, Ken. He's like, what? It's not there anymore, Ken. He's like, what the fuck? You just go get pizza somewhere else. They have the crust, Ken. This is why nobody likes you, Ken.
Asked me on this trip. He goes, would the best way to live a life would be that everybody was happy? And I said, yes, it would be. But I knew it was a trick question from him because then he said, no, he goes, the best way would be non-existence. But that's true, of course. But if everybody could be happy all the time, and if life had no obstacles, then hell, I'd go for that, right?
It has to be perfect. You have to have a very smooth ride for it to be worth it to these people. This Indian philosopher that she was talking to was like,
No, but don't you see, Diane? On the one hand, you have life. Good things, bad things. On the other hand, you have non-existence. Nothing, Diane,
But
nothing.
nothing.
No bad.
And I've gone on to the Do Not Watch stream and asked, like, what would make life worth it? Like, what?
Yeah, what would overcome
if-
the
right.
hardship, right?
And you know what the answer is, right, Shaun?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's the fucking answer that you get from these people.
Because
Nothing.
it'll always
Because if-
always be outweighed. Because then they start taking this kind of global view of it, like, well, all the suffering in the world, like they take it on their shoulders as if it makes them like kind of virtuous, and like they have a value system they're working under, they're operating from, because they don't want anybody to. Don't you know what happens to people in other parts of the world, etc.? And it's like, you know. And they want, so they don't want existence to happen. They'd be like, well, I'm so magnanimous that I get to engage in a fucktard hypothetical and say like, well, I never would have been chosen to be born. I never would have chose this because I wouldn't want to be part of that system. Okay, dude. I love that thing. Danny Shine, all these fucking jerk-offs, they're always just like, if I had been given the option, if somebody had asked me if I wanted to be born when I was in non-existence, I would have said no, mate. I'm like, you wouldn't have said anything because you didn't exist. Like, we don't.
Right.
We've talked about this 100 times. I guess it's been a while though, but we don't offer consent to things that don't exist. Like, it's a mute point when you don't exist. It doesn't matter. Now you are granted the opportunity of being asked for consent. Now that you exist, you start from zero, right?
I wanted to say before I have to hop off the stream. I was thinking about it earlier. I was like, I have to say this on the stream. The anti-natalists have actually flipped my opinion on assisted suicide. I want to make it legal. I want to make it free, and I want to make it accessible to all people, so that I can just see how many of these fucking cowards
would do
actually
it.
go through with it. And
Yeah,
it's,
go
you
to
know
Canada.
what? It'll be none of them. It'll be fucking none of them, because all of them, as I tell them every single time I get on the stream, you guys make the fucking choice to wake up and live your life every single day. Because you like it here.
And they'll make some dumb argument how they're pacifists and they don't actually want to
wanna
harm.
cause
And now that I exist, my death would like have a ripple effect that would cause harm to my loved ones, etc. I can't be like actively part of that. And you're just like, well, just pull it off like a Band-Aid, dude. Like a Band-Aid, and give them a chance to get over it. You write a letter explaining yourself. I'm sure they'll understand.
That argument makes them look like this.
All right, let's see. Let's do a few more minutes, and then we'll wrap up. Diane, I think is that all like the info we really have?
Well, there was more stuff, but like there's a article from, what is this?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The Pittsburgh Gazette article from like 2005 that you can't get to. It's behind a paywall.
Yeah, but somebody archived it. I think I have it. Yeah, somebody archived it.
That would be probably the last big thing. I'm sure that if we dig deeper, we could find even more stuff, but there's always room for another Diane episode down the line.
What the hell is this? Yeah, okay. Welcome. Yeah, I want to view the site. I looked at it on my laptop. Trib Live. Give it to me. What are you doing? Here we go. Okay. So this will be the last thing we're covering of Diane for the moment. And then do you want to talk about the Flash for like 10 minutes before you bounce?
Sure.
I think the boys would enjoy that. Little Flash talk, little pop culture talk. Hale, ex-Humane Society director feared for children's safety. So what happened? This woman used to be the director of the Humane Society, and she bought dogs from a breeder and didn't adopt. And Diane found out about it and got her and 100 of her closest crazy bitches. And just like hounded this woman on social media and harassed her and stuff. Wild dogs often travel in packs. So do social media scourges. This is from 2016, by the way. A pack of internet assailants circled around Joy Bronstein in February after the then Western Pennsylvania Humane Society executive director committed a heinous misdeed. She audaciously purchased a collie for her 6-year-old son rather than adopt a homeless animal from her workplace. Uh-oh.
Brutal.
Which, you know, I understand. I can understand, like, the hypocrisy of that. But, like, what is fucking...
No, I got to start this off with a red alert, red alert, red alert.
I can understand if you were really into this stuff, like, being irritated at the hypocrisy. Like, I get that, but would I, like, harass her over it? No.
Of course you would, Shaun. You're a reasonable human being.
Yeah, you care about things, goddammit.
Yeah, right.
Now Diane's gonna adopt 6 more dogs because of this. Ken's gonna be furious. He'll get over it 30 seconds and just go in the other room. We call it Ken's room. It's connected to a kitchen. Quote unquote, Facebook was full of sentiments like she's a horrible human being. There was a meme with the caption, euthanize Joy. Bronstein recalled. I was messaged that I should kill myself. Bronstein resigned from the Humane Society amid the vehement, vicious denouncements by the self-appointed standard bearers of canine procurement. The controversy sparked by her critics, Pitbull perseverance garnered national headlines. At the time, Bronstein, 41 of Squirrel Hill, issued a brief statement calling her decision to step down a personal choice. In an exclusive interview with me on Wednesday, she elaborated for the first time on her decision. I resigned in fear for my children's safety, she said. Her fear is understandable. Facebook reaction to her decision to utilize a legal dog breeder was so incendiary that police charged 3 women with harassment. Guess who's one of them? Diane Elaine Bandy, Tara Jane Verbal, and Heather Lynn Vallone are scheduled for an April 25th hearing before the Pittsburgh Municipal Court Judge Oscar J. Petit Jr. Bronstein said she purchased the collie for her son, whom she described as having special needs. Okay. So she has a reason why she can't just have a stray or an adopted dog. She said she needed a dog with an affinity for children, and the collie breed is well known for that attribute. I researched it because if anybody has ever adopted an animal and stuff like that, they're often very skittish when you first get them because they're often abused or pulled off the streets or whatever. Hagbard says, wasn't the collie a med assist dog? Yeah, there you go, Hagbard. Hagbard had it. I researched it just as any person in a special situation should. I wasn't just getting a cute puppy in the window for my kid, Bronstein said. But even if I was, who cares? Plenty of people did. More than 1,500 people signed an online petition calling for her ouster. A number more appropriate had Bronstein been caught drowning a puppy rather than purchasing one. Nice editorializing there, you biased media. Quote unquote, it's not easy becoming a public pariah, she said. People were calling into question whether my children should exist because I'd passed on to them my awful, vile genes. So I wonder who's that? Who that was. There were moments in that time frame when I questioned whether I was strong enough to put one foot in front of the other. Bronstein believes it's become too common for people to say things online they probably never would utter to another person's face. There seems to be no venue on social media that's encouraging civil discourse, she said. What happened to people being able to disagree, shake hands, and be friends? Currently working as an independent consultant, blah, blah, blah. Said Bronstein, no one else should have to deal with explaining to their children who are too young to understand why people say they hate you and want you dead. And also, there is a follow-up to this is that they did have a trial. The judge dismissed it. Because he was like, these are a bunch of fucking middle-aged, like, wine moms complaining on the internet. He dismissed it, I think... and then said, like, you can't contact this woman ever again on, like, social media. And if you do, you're going to have to pay a fine. But the fine was, like, $350. It was, like, a ridiculously low fine. And Diane's quote was, like, oh, I'm happy with the decision, but I'm still embarrassed for, like, Bronstein or something like that.
Oh, yes, I remember reading that. Yeah,
remember I sent you the clip. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, it's pure Diane. Pure Diane.
She really is a gem. I fucking love her.
She's really something else. She's something else. All right.